Hey guys, so it's time to start the next project. So I picked up this 1995 FL70 Freightliner. It's got a Caterpillar 3126 300 horse diesel motor in it. It's also got the Eaton 7-speed transmission, not the Spicer 7-speed, so I'm hoping that's going to be a little heavier duty than the Spicer. See how it works out. The truck's pretty low geared. I mean, we're talking 60 something miles an hour wide open, but we're not going for speed, we're going for capacity. So I haven't talked much about my other dump truck. I got a 2002 C6500 hydraulic brake under CDL truck. It's got a 4-speed Allison automatic and it's basically useless. I mean, it's just good because anyone can drive it, so I can put my dad in it and put my wife in it and they can go do a load here, a load there, but it just doesn't have the power to pull trailers or to haul anything really more than 4 or 5 yards of stone or sand. I've been overloading it, and it's time to move up before I get caught or before I get, you know, some serious damage to the truck or other people's property. So I picked this truck up pretty cheap. It's got 65,000 miles on it. The previous owner sandblasted the frame, or had it sandblasted and painted. And you can see where they, you know, they didn't quite get everything, but they did a pretty good job. So that's good. Nice heavy single frame. It has air suspension rear, which is not ideal, but I'm going to start with that and we'll work with it because it's what I got. So I picked this up, and then I was on Facebook and found one of these in New York, and the guy was kind enough to deliver it. And by kind enough, I mean he charged me all the money to deliver it, but it was worth it because I didn't have to drive down to New York. 20,000 pound pusher axle, air down, spring up. So the plan is we're gonna remove this axle, move it forward. We're gonna mount that axle on here, get a PTO and a pump set up, and we're gonna turn this into the dump truck. I'm gonna take the body off the Kodiak and put it on this, and then I have an 11-foot body that I'm gonna put on the Kodiak and probably put the Kodiak up for sale. So stay tuned. This is going to be a couple months process. So I built my Kodiak out of a former box truck, 24-foot box truck. I ended up moving the axle 8 feet ahead on that one. And I actually poured this concrete pad specifically to work on that truck. So I got a pad beside my garage here. It's 24 foot wide, 30 feet deep. Marshall, where's a good dog? Get it. Get the ball. So I'm gonna move the salt medic out of the way. I'm gonna park the Freightliner at an angle here so we can get to blocking that up, dropping the drive shaft, pulling the brake lines, and getting ready to move the axle ahead. Pull the drive shaft. Luckily it's not pressed in, it's got straps on it. This cross member, that cross member, panhard bar, axle, hangers, shock mounts. What this is, overload stop, I guess. And bag mounts are all gonna have to get unbolted and moved ahead on both sides. Get to work, start pulling things off like mud flaps. These boxes are welded on here. We'll try to salvage them maybe I can use them for a different project. This hitch here is basically useless to me. I can salvage some stuff like this, backup alarm, you know, all that stuff is reusable. So we'll use what we can, we'll work with what we have. Ideally, I'd have a spring axle truck, not an airbag, but I can put a dump valve in this so I can drop the airbags when I go to dump. So one thing that drives me insane working on other people's projects, this wire here was live through a circuit breaker, and the wire goes inside the frame. It was all the way back here. It was just hanging out. Like, if you're gonna strip your truck down for another purpose, remove all that stuff. So got to go along here, cut all these zip ties and pull this wire out. And the beauty of this is I probably got a good 16 feet of what appears to be maybe 1/0. Look at that, number 2 copper. So that's an expensive wire right there. Should have kept that when they tore the truck down. They could have had a nice wire for the next project. So I'll keep that. That's excellent battery wire. Come on, come on, come on. Who's a good dog? Go hit your ball. So I'd like to take credit for this, but this is actually JC Smith's idea on YouTube. Is you just paint around the brackets you got to move, so you know when you go to drill your holes, what holes you have to move forward. So pretty good idea if you ask me. All right. Drove Class A wrecker for like 4 years, and I've removed hundreds of these drive shafts. These universal, I don't know what they are, they're like 16 point sockets, work really well. They grab onto those 12 point bolts really well. Okay, so we've removed the drive shaft, we've removed the electrical, we've removed all the air. So both frame rails are clean on the inside. We've marked out the holes we need to move. We've unhooked all the brake lines, all the service lines, the emergency lines. So it's time to start unbolting stuff, get this up on some blocks, and move forward to the next step. So I'm looking over this rear end and I'm wondering if I can use springs from another donor truck and convert this over to spring ride, which I would prefer for a dump truck. It looks like the U-bolts have perches that can be removed. So gonna call up a local junkyard and see if I can get a set of springs for this, because that would be a lot better than air ride for a dump truck. So I'm gonna look around. Either way, this axle has to come off. So I'm gonna get this thing up on stands, get everything unbolted, and get it rolled out of the way so we can go forward with either drilling holes for this or drilling holes for springs. So I'm going to unbolt the bags and the shocks, unhook the leveler, and then let the axle swing right down these front bolts to the ground. That went pretty swell, no real problems. Fussy bolts on the panhard bar, but got the bags off, got the shocks off. Ready? Yeah. 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 There, so now the brakes are released. There it is, all stripped down. All the brackets are off. I'm gonna try to find a spring setup for this truck, so I'm gonna need to get, I'm hoping that they will torch off some U-bolts and just cut the frame in front of and behind the spring cross members. So I can just take that whole thing home. I'll have the template for the holes, and I'll have the springs. The only thing I'll need to go buy new will be U-bolts, which I should do anyway. So I guess before I waste all the time going to the junkyard, I better make sure that I can do what I want to do here. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the passenger side air leaf assembly here and see what my axle housing actually looks like. Okay, so by the looks of it, there's a pin probably 5/8 in diameter. It looks like it's centered in this spring perch, centered and centered. I think leaf springs, the pin is back here based on a video that I saw from JC Smith. On the bottom of the housing, there's nothing. There's nothing at all. So I think what I can do, if the leaf spring has a hole here, I can drill another hole in the leaf spring here, and that would basically be all that I need to do. So I need to pick up springs, spring perches, and whatever pieces like this are on the springs. I'm gonna leave that side together just in case I find out this isn't gonna work and I have to reuse this side. It's just two less U-bolts to buy. So let's take a trip to the junkyard. So here we are, an hour and 20 minutes away from home, but these guys are willing to work with me, and they're reasonably priced. And who doesn't want to spend some time in a junkyard? Steerable. I don't want to buy them tires and wheels. Oh man, I recognize this truck. It's a nice looking body. So that's an 11 foot. And they have a pusher on an 11 foot. Wow, look at that. The floor is as flat as a pool table. Yep, I recognize this truck. It's too bad it was in an accident. I'm gonna say they smacked a pole with it. Alright, let's take a walk around, see what we can find. The very first truck I walk up to has the correct axle size. I think it's the same exact axle, it's got the same number on it. Different, no, same U-joint. Nice clean spring packs. I like this rear cross member, how it's forward of the hanger. And the frame is very close, it's within a 1/4 inch. So this one might be an option. It's out of a Kenworth. Yeah, let's keep looking. Okay, so we are approaching the section of the yard with Freightliners, and there it is. That's the truck that they called me about. Let's go check it out. Boy, it is rusty. Look at that. All this stuff looks pretty nice. Springs all look good. Hangers look pretty good. Let's see. The big question is the axle. Yeah, it's the same dimension. No frame width. 34, doubled up here, 34.5. So I'd have to put a spacer plate on my frame. I might just use that. So the brackets all look good. A little rusty, but not bad. Frame is trash, but I only need it for hole alignment. I'm not using the frame. I'm using these cross members, which are they're surface rusty, but they're not thin. Got an extra little oh yeah. They're a little shot. And I think a needle scaler and some sandblasting fix those up no problem. Alright, let's go see if they want to cut it out. Make sure this truck is a heavy rear end. Mine's at 21,000. Let's see here. 33,000. Rear axle, 23,000. Front is 12. 35,000 pound chassis. So this will work. We'll see if they want to do this one or the Kenworth. I think I'd prefer the Kenworth just because it's in better shape. And as long as I know if I need parts. So went around the yard, checked out some other stuff. Look how organized this place is. It's so nice. Got the Hinos all together, got the Max and GMCs. All the Freightliners are all together. All the trucks are numbered. They probably know exactly what they have, exactly where it is. All right, let's go see what they want to do. Take one more look at that Kenworth on the way back. So I just have to walk up through the top kicks. I love the top kicks. Everyone wants to shit on the top kicks because they're underpowered and there's no room in the cab. But you know what? All the old farmers drive them. There's a reason for that. And the reason is they're easy to work on, parts are available, they're cheap, and they're reliable. Probably a liability thing. Oh, it's 7,500. The rear end off this might work too. Take a look. Oh yeah. It's all riveted. Those aren't as bad to get off as you might think. Anti-sway bar. There's another one. Holy moly. That thing has got a massive rear end in it. That one's in good shape too. Could use that one. It's kind of cool. It's got sway bars. Although I don't really feel like drilling through the flange of the frame. Interesting. Here's another one. Oil trucks. I recognize the company. Oil trucks. This one's in pretty good shape too. What's this one got for an axle on it? Let's see. Yeah, same size. That one's all bolted on. This one's in good shape. Same problem on my other top kick. But the hangers, the overloads, hangers are in good shape. Ooh, I kind of like this one. How tall is this frame? And the frame is a lot closer to height. Let's see what this one says. Let's see, rear Spicer springs. 22,065. Okay. Gonna have to make an assumption that because this is an oil truck, that's a heavy rear. I'm kind of liking that one. We'll see what they say. I think this is the one that I want. It's also simple, just front and rear hanger, a couple overloads, and some stops. It's all bolted together too, and it's clean. This is the one I'd like to have. Well, of course, they can't sell the parts off the Kenworth right now because they don't have the title for it, so. Looks like it's either the top kick or the FL70, so I'm gonna go take one more quick look, and then we're gonna probably watch this thing do its job. Yeah, it's one hell of a rig. All right, let's go take one more quick look. I don't know what that thing is, but I think it's homemade, and I friggin' love it. Here, man. You guys run propane in those? Yeah. To cut just as good, or?
Yeah, it just takes a little long before it heat up, that's all.
Yeah. Probably less money. Acetylene gotten expensive.
Yeah, it's a lot cheaper.
What is that, like an old Holmes wrecker? Been modified? Yeah. Maybe it won't go anywhere. That's fine.
Oh, it's gonna fall off.
Yeah. It wouldn't have done that if you wanted it to.
No. Want to try to roll it?
White and Bradstreet, Augusta, Maine. I'd say if you're in the New England area, I'd call these guys up. Quick service, good prices, pretty happy with them. So we'll get this thing strapped down and we're heading back to town. Oh, here we are back at the farm, as they say. So what I need to keep off of this are these two cross members, all the bracketry. So the frame is going to get scrapped eventually. I might keep those valves. I don't know if I'm going to need those or not, but I'm going to use the frame rails for my templates, nice and clean. That's why I wanted this one over the Freightliner, because I think I'm going to have an easier time getting my holes lined up. And then this big bolt on the GMs goes all the way through the frame. So that's going to be the point that I use to make sure I'm square. The center of this hole on both sides to make sure my axle's square to the body. So since I've been home, I cut the other side of the airliner off. And I needle scaled the top of the axles. You see all the crap on the ground. So pretty clean, got a little bit more there to do. And I'll throw some paint on there. And then I got to get this pan hard bar off. I'm going to leave the bracket on there, just because I don't see the need to crank heat into the axle. This bracket is in the way, and of all the trucks that I saw today, none of them had this bracket. So I'm gonna cut this off, and I'm just gonna move it out here, or inbound, and put it back on. I can't imagine that adding a whole lot of strength to what goes on here, because all that really happens is there's a cam inside there that turns, and it's not like there's any tension out here. It's all inside here. So I gotta cut that off. My perches here for the axle that I picked up goes on here, but it's got to be on that pin, obviously. And for whatever reason, this hole here is not centered with this hole, so I'm gonna have to drill this hole through, clean out this side of it, and then we're good to go. And there's no locating pin on the bottom of the axle, so I gotta needle scale the bottom, take this panhard bar off, and I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna get rid of this cross member, and I might go ahead and cut this out so that I can slide my other cross members in, because they're not going in any other way. I don't think I can unbolt those and put them back in and have it be nice and reliable. So I'm gonna get all this cleaned up, get this out of here, get this out of here. I might just cut the frame off somewhere to make it easy on myself, as opposed to trying to get rid of all these welds, because I'm gonna be shortening the frame anyway. So the frame's gonna end up being, this was the center line, the frame's gonna end up being about this long. So if I torch it here, I still have plenty to work with. Got to clean up inside here where all the brackets were mounted before. And so far, I don't think I'm going to have to move this cross member, which is preferable because it's already got the carrier bearing in it and everything. So that being said, time to get to work. So I think I'm going to leave this cross member in for now, so that it kind of holds everything together. I have to clean up these frame rails, wire cup them, you know, get them painted up and whatnot. So I think I'm going to leave that in just for the sake of keeping everything together. I don't need to slide the cross members in until I go to assemble everything anyway, because I'm using all the holes from those other frame rails. I don't need the cross members for a template, so I'm going to leave that in there, and I'm going to go ahead and get all this cleaned up. I just wanted to show you the difference before and after needle scaling. So this is probably kind of hard to see, but there's a good 1/8 of an inch ledge there, right? And then you check out this side. I just got done scaling it. Pretty smooth. So you can see all the chunks flying off this thing. Might want to hold your ears. That's worth doing. Definitely going to be a stronger connection now. Teardown is complete. Prep is complete. I do have to start doing some drilling and machining now to get everything lined up and start bolting everything back together. So let's review what we've done so far. We've completely stripped the chassis of all components behind this cross member. We did a little bit of needle scaling inside there, cleaned that up a little bit, just threw some quick rattle can paint on there. It's not the best option, but it's quickest and easiest and better than doing nothing. We removed the taillight boxes, suspension components, cross members, and we're getting this prep to convert from air to spring. So that's the truck side. The axle over here, I've completely removed all the bracketry for the air suspension except for this panhard bar mount, which we're going to leave there just because of the complexity of cutting it off. I don't see the need to do it. If anything, I'll cut these ears off, but I might as well leave it there. We got this all needle scaled, cleaned up, ready to go back together. We removed these small brackets here that I'll end up repositioning out here after I get the leaf springs bolted on. And we went and picked this up today. So in the next video, we'll get these springs removed from here, all the bracketry removed from here, the shackles, the hangers, the cross members, all this plumbing and wiring garbage, the bump stops, the jounce stoppers, the overload brackets. We'll get all that stripped down, and we're going to be using these frame rails as a template for our holes, and we'll start drilling those holes and get all the cross members bolted in. We'll get the axle bolted on, and then we'll have to send the drive shaft out for shortening, and then we're going to get our tag axle bolted on. So I think that's a good place to end this video, kind of like the tear down portion, and the next steps will come in the next video. So do me a big favor, drop down in the comments, give me your opinions. I love reading that stuff. I love responding, and like the channel, subscribe. Really helps me out, lets me know that I'm doing something you guys want to see. So we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching.